It was exactly 2:03 a.m. when the sound of shattering glass broke the silence of Ashland Avenue, a quiet residential street in the outskirts of Chicago. The night was humid, the kind that made your clothes stick to your skin, and the breeze barely moved the curtains inside the small, single-story home of Anthony Griggs. He had lived there alone since his divorce 3 years ago, a man once known for his sharp mind as a private investigator, now drowning quietly in alcohol and regret. Anthony jerked awake, startled. His instincts, though dulled by years of self-neglect, still sparked to life in moments like this. He sat up in bed, listening. The house was silent again, but that didn't mean it was safe. Slowly, he reached into the drawer beside his bed and pulled out his old .38 revolver, the same one he carried when he worked cases in the South Side. He crept out of bed, his feet silent on the wooden floor. The sound hadn't come from his house. It came from next door. The Carlsons. He hadn't seen them in a few days. Strange, considering Sarah Carlson was always on the porch in the morning, sipping coffee and talking on the phone. But for the past 3 days, nothing. No porch coffee, no friendly wave, no cars pulling out of their driveway. Anthony crossed his yard quietly, his bare feet making almost no noise in the dew-soaked grass. The Carlson's side window was shattered. A lamp inside flickered strangely. The front door was slightly ajar. He felt the old fear stir in his chest, the same feeling he used to get before a dangerous bust. But this was different. This was close to home. He stepped inside. The smell hit him first, coppery and metallic. Blood. The house was cold, eerily silent. The living room looked untouched, except for the broken window and the flickering lamp on the floor. He moved through the hallway slowly, revolver ready. The silence felt like a trap. The first body was in the kitchen. It was Thomas Carlson, face down, blood pooled around his head, a knife protruding from his lower back. His hand was still clutching a cell phone, the screen shattered and smeared with blood. Anthony felt a wave of nausea but forced it down. He stepped around the body, looking for more. The second body was worse. Sarah Carlson was tied to a chair in the dining room, gagged and blindfolded, throat slit, eyes wide open. Her fingernails were broken and bloodied. She had fought hard. There was a symbol carved into the table in front of her. A triangle inside a circle with jagged edges radiating outward. Anthony froze. That symbol. He had seen it before. Years ago, during a missing persons case in Joliet, a young girl named Claire Devon had vanished. They'd found that same symbol carved into the tree near where she disappeared. The FBI had taken over the case, labeled it cult activity, and everything went dark after that. No answers, no suspects. Anthony backed out of the room, his heart pounding. This wasn't random. This was connected to something bigger. He called the police, but not before snapping a few pictures with his burner phone. He wasn't supposed to investigate anymore. But this wasn't just an investigation. This was personal now. By the time the police arrived, Anthony was sitting on his front porch, chain-smoking. Detective Erin Blake, a woman with sharp eyes and no patience for nonsense, stepped out of her cruiser and walked straight toward him. "Anthony Griggs," she said, not surprised to see him. "Why is it that every time something messy happens, your name finds a way into it?" Anthony blew out smoke. "Bad luck, I guess." She glanced at the Carlsons' house. "You see anything?" "I heard glass break. Went to check it out. Found him dead." "You went inside?" she asked, raising an eyebrow. "Old habits." She didn't respond, but her expression was enough. She didn't like civilians contaminating crime scenes, even if the civilian used to be one of the best PIs in the city. "What about that symbol?" Anthony asked. Erin turned sharply. "You saw that?" He nodded. "Same one as the Joliet case, Claire Devon." Erin stiffened. "That's classified." "You think I care?" There was a long pause. Erin looked back at her car, then at the Carlson house. "I shouldn't say anything, but you're right. Same symbol. And this isn't the first time it's come up again." "How many?" "3 other families, last 2 months. Always a couple, always the same symbol, always brutal. FBI's building a profile." Anthony's hands tightened around the armrest of his chair. "You think it's a cult?" Erin hesitated. "We don't know. But we're keeping it quiet. We don't want panic." Too late for that, Anthony thought. That night, he pulled out an old file from his closet. Claire Devon's case. The news clippings, the sketches of the symbol, the notes he wasn't supposed to keep. He spent hours going through them, circling names, rereading statements. Then something clicked. All 4 recent victims had one thing in common. They'd all served on the same jury 5 years ago. A racketeering case involving a man named Lester Vann. The jury found him guilty. Vann was sentenced to life without parole. Anthony flipped through the files. The same symbol had been found carved into Vann's prison cell wall after his arrest. No one had connected it. Or maybe they had, and buried it. He called Erin the next morning. "We need to talk," he said. "It's not random. It's revenge." Erin didn't want to meet in the station. Instead, she agreed to a quick coffee at a diner on the outskirts, somewhere quiet, away from ears. Anthony was already sitting in the booth when she walked in. A folder in front of him and 2 coffees on the table, hers still steaming. "You look like hell," she said. "I feel worse," Anthony replied, "but I've got something." She slid into the seat across from him and opened the folder. "Claire Devon," she murmured, scanning the old newspaper clippings. "I remember this. Disappeared after piano class, never found." He tapped the image of the strange symbol carved into the tree. "Same one at the Carlson house," she nodded. "And?" "They were on a jury 5 years ago. Thomas and Sarah Carlson. And so were the victims from the other cases you mentioned." Her eyes widened slightly. "You're sure?" "I cross-checked the names. Every victim sat on the same jury that convicted Lester Vann." Erin leaned back, processing the information. "Vann's still in prison." "Physically, sure," Anthony said. "But this isn't just him. This is someone on the outside, maybe a follower. Someone who believes Vann was wronged." "Or someone who believes he was right," Erin said darkly. "That symbol, it wasn't just found in his cell. We found it in a warehouse 2 years ago. Place was raided. No arrests, but signs of ritualistic gatherings. Candles, robes, the works." "You think it's a cult?" Anthony asked. "I think it's something worse. Organized belief with structure. These people follow orders, they plan, and they're smart." Anthony sipped his coffee. "Then we need to outsmart them." Erin closed the folder. "We'll reopen the files quietly. See if we can identify the remaining jurors. If someone's targeting them, they're on a timetable." "Then we don't have much time," Anthony muttered. That night, he couldn't sleep. The images of the Carlsons haunted him. So did the thought of Vann sitting in a prison cell, smiling, knowing this was happening. Knowing his reach extended beyond concrete walls and steel bars. He got up around 3 a.m. and opened his laptop. Using old contacts and backdoor search tools, He dug into the remaining jurors. Most had moved out of state. One lived in Idaho, another in Florida. But one still lived in Chicago, an elderly woman named Linda Mayfield, retired school teacher, lived alone in a senior condo complex not far from downtown. He made up his mind. By sunrise, he was parked across the street from her building, watching. He waited for movement. Around 7:45 a.m., he saw her exit the lobby using a walker, heading toward the nearby park. He got out of his car and followed from a distance. She moved slowly, cautiously, her gray curls bouncing gently as she walked. He caught up gently, not wanting to alarm her. "Mrs. Mayfield?" She turned, startled. "My name's Anthony Griggs. I'm a former investigator. I need to talk to you about the Carlson family." Her face tightened. "I heard. The news said it might have been a burglary." "It wasn't," Anthony said gently. "It was deliberate, and it may have something to do with the jury you served on 5 years ago." Her eyes widened. "You remember Lester Vann?" "Of course," she whispered. "That trial lasted 8 weeks. I still have nightmares." "Other jurors have been murdered," Anthony said. "You may be next." She took a shaky breath. I thought I was just being paranoid. I kept seeing the same car outside. A man at the grocery store kept watching me." "Can you describe him?" She nodded slowly. "Tall, pale, black cap, no expression, like a statue." Anthony tensed. That same description matched a figure caught on a grainy gas station camera outside the Carlson residence 2 nights before the murders. "I need you to stay somewhere safe," he said. "Do you have family?" "My niece. She lives in Naperville." "Pack a bag. I'll drive you myself." Back at the station, Erin was putting together a list of the remaining jurors when a call came through. A house fire. Southwest side. 2 dead. Burned beyond recognition. She rushed to the scene. It was the home of Marcus and Danielle Phelps, another couple from the jury. The fire had been set from inside, accelerants used, doors jammed shut. There was no way out. Erin stood there, staring at the charred ruins, anger and fear boiling in her chest. Whoever was doing this wasn't just sending a message. They were erasing the past. And they were doing it fast. Anthony got Linda to Naperville safely. On the way back, he stopped at a gas station. While grabbing a coffee, he noticed a man in a dark hoodie staring at him from across the lot. Pale face, black cap, empty expression, the same description. Anthony didn't react. He walked calmly back to his car, started the engine, and drove. The man didn't follow. But Anthony knew. They were watching him now. That night, he dug deeper into Lester Vann. Not just court records, personal history. Who visited him? Who called him? One name came up repeatedly: Jeremiah Cade, a theology professor turned radical writer.